I want to move on to Joshlin Smith, right? So for those that don't know, and I don't know how people wouldn't know if you live in South Africa, but on the 19th of February, 2024, a little girl named Joshlin Smith. Is it Joshlin or Joshlin?
Josh. Her father's name is Josh.
Okay.
So it's named after her father. But
I was wondering because every different media outlet reports it differently. It's Joshlin, Jocelyn. They keep switching.
No, it's Joshlin.
Joshlin.
Because she's named after her father.
Okay. So a little girl named Joshlin went missing from her home in Saldana Bay. I actually don't think she was at her home at the time. I think she was out playing with friends. But she went missing from Saldana Bay. And since then there's been this massive manhunt of people trying to find her. And I saw you on the ground also looking for her. So just to lay out some context, and I mean, I know I kind of just described she's a 6-year-old girl that lives in Saldana Bay, but do you know, I mean, you spent time with people in that area that knew her. Who was Joshlin Smith?
I think Joshlin Smith is any other kid on the Cape Flats, any other kid in Heidedal, any other kid in Galvindale, any other kid in Wentworth, any other kid in Alexandra, or Soweto for that matter. Joshlin grew up in absolute abject poverty. Joshlin Smith is the child of drug addicts.
So you're saying her mom is a drug addict?
Yes, and her father is a recovering drug addict. And her stepfather is a drug addict. Joshlin Smith lived in a one-room shack. Joshlin Smith then disappeared. On day 2, I got involved to come and help.
So you were there on the 20th?
Yeah.
Or the 21st, roughly?
Yeah, roughly.
Yeah.
I came to come and help with the search. It was on the 20th. I came to help with the search. And I went there, like any other person. I also got to know that she's the mother, the member of our party.
The mother is a supporter of the Patriotic Alliance.
Yes. So I even had more motivation to meet her during the search.
What was that like? Before you found anything out, before anything was in the open, what was your first impression of her?
My first impression was, before I even met the mother, was like, what's happening here? 2 cops and 1 detective are helping with the search. This is a child that's missing.
That's actually a big turnout, though, in South Africa for a missing child.
Oh, definitely. And then I realized that I asked the cop, how many of these cases, the detective, how many cases of this have you done? And he said, yeah, he had one where the child died. He found the body afterwards. And so I realized this man has zero experience when it comes to what he's supposed to be knowing.
Yeah.
I'm not a cop, but I know there's certain steps you have to take when a child gets missing. And those are in the book, what should happen. And none of that has happened. I then met the mother. In 10 minutes of meeting the mother, I knew that she's involved. I knew she's being dishonest. At first, my initial thought was she's protecting somebody. I thought she's protecting somebody that is part of this whole thing, which I thought was a stepfather.
So you didn't think that she had a hand in it? You thought maybe she was protecting someone else that did it?
At first, I thought she, for me, whether you had a hand in it or whether you protect the person.
It's the same thing.
It's the same thing in my book. And Joshlin's mom, then I then realized here's a person that should be a person of interest. And I started asking questions.
Well, you went out for lunch with her, didn't you?
Yeah, no, that was a few days thereafter.
Okay.
I started questions, and I realized I need to win a favor because this woman knows much more than what she's letting on. I also picked up that she's uber intelligent. She's very smart. This is one of my first thoughts I had about just interacting with her. I then realized that there was 4 people in the house where Joshlin disappeared. 4 was in the house, in the yard, or whatever you call it. All 4 of them had a different version of what happened. Now, that's very strange. If we sit here and I do this, there's 2 of us here. We can maybe have a different version. No, you use your right hand. You didn't use your right hand, you used the left hand. But if 4 people are talking different thing about the same serious happening, and that my antennas just went up and said, something is not right here. Long story short, Joshlin's I then spoke to the cops. I tell them, guys, you got to open your eyes. Here's your suspects, these people.
So was no one even thinking she might have anything to do with it?
No one. The next moment, I managed to get the police. I heard the police are closing the case. They're stopping the search. Well, I'm like, no, it can't be. No, I told my counselor, no, you just come with rumors here. This is not a time for rumors. It can't be. Then the mayor of Saldana, Leon Trutte, wrote a mail saying the investigation is going to be stopped.
For what reason?
They can't find her.
After how long of looking? A day or two?
4 days. Now, what you must understand is standard practice. When a child gets missing in our communities, it becomes a file. I then wrote a letter to Alan Wendy. I asked him publicly. I said, Mr. Wendy, please intervene. Send your resources. He didn't answer me. He answered the mayor of Saldana, which had a replica letter. He said, we're going to send this. After...
You asked for helicopters and drones.
Yes, drones, boats. And,
people on the ground. Yeah.
But we kept on looking. Then I asked them to have a lie detector test. This is where everything turned. I asked them to have a lie detector test on the mother. I insisted on that. The next day, and everybody in the house. The next day, they came back, they said, she passed the lie detector test. But when I met her, she was as high as a kite. Now, I know what TIC does to a lie detector test. Your hormones are all over the place. Your heartbeat is all over the place. So it's very difficult to see if a person lies.
Well, I was actually watching, I just started watching a show called Homeland. Have you ever heard of it?
Yes, I know the show.
So I was watching that last night, and they were doing a lie detector test on 11 different people that were suspected of handing someone a razor blade to hurt themselves. And the one guy was just flustered. He wasn't even high. He was just flustered from something that happened earlier. And already you could see it looked like he was lying or telling it was completely false read, yeah.
And then I said no. And then I, through my contacts, I made contact with the presidency. And I said, and they said, no, they'll send Beckett Cele, the Minister of Police. And Beckett Cele came. And I asked him, can you retest them? But this time they need to be sober. And they did retest them. And when they retested them, I think they retested them this Saturday. They didn't tell us the result. The Sunday, I could see by their actions, these people want to escape today, the mother and the father, the mother and the stepfather. What I did, I then took them with my guys, we booked them in a hotel. The Monday when the cops got the lie detector test result, the cops then asked us, we can't find them. Do you guys maybe know where the mother and stepfather is? The cops. We said, all right, fine, we'll go show you. Go to this room, they're there. This is the number. We got to them. We were guarding them the whole night.
Did you have someone following them?
I had my bodyguards, all my bodyguards. I was going around without security. And so that they can look after. I just had 1 or 2 security with me. The rest of my guys were there.
For those that don't know, Gayton rolls deep with security. Every time, well, this time and the last time I saw him, he's had at least 5 to 7 bodyguards.
Politics is a dangerous game.
I'm sure, yeah.
And when Joshlin, all the suspects they have there, we pointed them out to them. We made sure that it doesn't become a file. The helicopters came out because Gayton Mckenzie and the community of Middle Post was not giving up on this case. Because Mbiza wasn't giving up. Because Shakes wasn't giving up. We were not giving up on this case. Hence, you see, the councillor didn't give up on this case. And that's why you see there's so much interest in Joshlin. Because in the time that we're looking for Joshlin, people think we're just worried about Joshlin. Joshlin has become the face of all our missing children that nobody... I spoke to a mother in Bloemfontein. Her son, Ashwin Simmons, been gone for 10 years. The last time she heard from the cops was the day when we reported him missing.
Was this the kid that you said that you've promised to help find one day?
Or no, there's another one.
Okay, I was reading about that last night.
I have files and files of kids that that I'm talking to private detectives. Can I pay you? Can you do this? Look for this kid so long because it's overwhelming. We had a kid yesterday, one wild lady a kid was gone. We sent out the whole team to go, and then the kid made contact when she heard we are looking for her everywhere. Last week, a few days, 4 days ago, a kid was missing in Annandale. We sent out more than 2,000-3,000 people to look for the kid. The kid appeared after load shedding. People had put leaves in her ears. She couldn't hear when it was all this.
I mean, I was in Manenberg the other day filming a documentary, and while I was there, police were going around with a mother in the back of the car looking for a missing child.
Yes, because now it's no longer a file.
Yeah.
You have to look for a child because the Patriotic Alliance will rock up there and will make people say, we're making it about politics. We're using this child for political reasons. Like they don't know that politics decided the helicopter shouldn't come out. Politics decided to close the case. Politics decides how many cops get deployed. Politics decide everything regarding our everyday lives, basically.
Yeah.
I went there. What stopped other political leaders to go and search on day 2? We all read about it on Facebook. We all heard about it sometime. What is stopping them till today to come and help us search? Because the search for Joshlin continues. We don't have the same financial power. What stops them to put in a 10,000 rand or a 2,000 rand reward? I've put 1 million. No questions asked.
Well, before we get to that, I want to just talk a little bit more about the suspects and the story, right?
Right.
So the suspects are Kelly Smith, Joshlin's mom, Jacqueline Apollos.
Buddha, yes.
Buddha, who is Kelly's boyfriend.
Yeah.
Stefano Ryan, which is a friend of the family, I think. And there was another one. I think the new suspect is Laurentia Lombard.
Renz, yes.
I don't know who she's connected with.
She's connected with another guy, Ayanda. So what's happening here?
And then there was the traditional healer, Pumza.
She's innocent.
She's innocent, eh?
I said it before there was the rudimeter. Because
they were like, I think the community, which we haven't really spoken about, the community, when they heard of the news of Joshlin missing and they started getting media attention, the community were storming down people's houses, weren't they? I mean, they were trying to get into Kelly's house. They were at the police stations. They were everywhere. They were protesting. Yes. They were forming massive search parties.
I was there. I was leading that.
And how many people turned out from that area?
Oh, thousands and thousands. That community of Saldana. They came out. People came from as far as Cape Town. People came from as far as Joburg to come and help with the search.
Saldana is about an hour and a half away from here.
An hour away, depending how you drive.
Up the West Coast Road, yeah.
For what I'm saying is that I've never seen this. The suspects that we handed over to the cops, day 3. The cops, day 3 or day 4, day 5, I can't remember. The cop says they don't need them. They're not suspects. All those people are in jail today as suspects. Maybe we would have found Joshlin if they acted the way we acted. We act fast. The community are the real heroes. We handed out every suspect. There's one main suspect the cops are not charging yet because he has opened a case of kidnapping against me. Because I took him to the police station. I actually took him to the police station to save his life because on my life, I had a life. I was on Facebook Live. And one of the suspects, Stefano, said, this man bought the child for Muti. And as a leader, thousands of people were watching. I think 24,000 people were watching that.
On your Facebook Live?
On my Facebook Live, yes. And
I was one of them.
Yes. And that boy said, unprovoked, he said, Ayanda took Joshlin. As a leader, I knew what was to follow next. The community is going to go for him. They're going to kill him, and we will never know what happened to Joshlin. I rushed there. My guys took Ayanda, and they took him to the police station. I did it to save his life, actually, and also to know the truth. When he got to the police station, the DA, Regan, which is the provincial...
Regan Allen.
Yeah,
or Alan
MEC,
Regan.
Alan Regan, who's the provincial MEC for safety and security, rushed to Saldana to say, he kidnapped you. Open a case against Gayton Mckenzie. The DA then had a press conference. They've never had a press conference about Joshlin. They had a press conference and say, Gayton, this is a businessman, and Gayton kidnapped them. Who kidnapped somebody to the police station? I must be the dumbest kidnapper in the history of dumb kidnappers. I kidnapped somebody to the police station. I still go back to drop him at his house. What type of kidnapper am I? but they played politics. And Rens, you ask who Rens was. Rens is the one that confessed now everything to the cops. She said how they sold Joshlin. She said who bought Joshlin.
What? Well, tell me what happened. Can you tell me what happened?
Yeah, I can tell you.
Yeah, I actually haven't heard.
She said Joshlin got missing already the Sunday. The mother met with the Sangoma the Saturday. The transaction happened the Sunday. The mother jumped in a car with Joshlin. They drove for, I think, 100 meters. The mother jumped out. The Sangoma went with Joshlin. Then the next day, they reported the child stolen.
I thought you said the Sangoma was innocent, though.
No. The person, you asked me about Pumza, the person, they got and they alleged she's a Sangoma. She's innocent. She's not even a Sangoma.
Okay. Right. It's a different Sangoma you're talking about.
That's not what Rens is talking about. It's not what I'm saying. That's Rens's version.
Okay.
When the community went to Rens initially 2 days after Joshlin disappeared, she said, oh no, I did send Joshlin to the house on the Monday. So there's two versions. The version she gave the police and the version she gave us on the live. The live is still there. Stephanie was in the house. Said she sent Joshlin at a certain time. She said no, she didn't. So these people are all talking different versions.
Yeah.
The father, a stepfather of Joshlin, also has a different version in his time. The mother, when I asked, when we befriended her and taken her to the spur, now I've seen 3 things to show you that woman is not innocent. Number 1, there's no mother in the world. I said with that woman, she's jolly, she's laughing, and I first thought maybe that's what people shock. People act
Sometimes
differently.
people act funny when there's trauma, yeah.
So trauma makes people act differently. So I'm like looking at her like, having hot chocolates with us, laughing and stuff like that, and talking of, Joshlin is already dead. I only have 2 kids left. I'll pick up on those small things. But for me, which was the second thing, but I'll tell you what shocked me to the core. The second thing was when, there's 4 things that happened with Kelly. The second one was, she didn't ask one of our people to stop searching for Joshlin. We must just accept Joshlin's fate.
That's bizarre. Because usually with parents that are grieving, I mean, they'll never stop looking.
They'll never. That's the second thing. The third thing about Kelly, I got the Temple Boys to perform. And when the Temple Boys was performing, she started dancing to the beat.
You got them to perform where? At one of the search parties?
One of our, no, there was where we want to bring awareness for Joshlin.
Okay.
Where the church, and I said for the kids that's so traumatized because they like the super band for small kids. And all the small kids, I said, come so that for the trauma, that they can see the heroes, Temple Boys, because they love the Temple Boys.
Yeah.
And when the Temple Boys was busy performing for the kids, she started dancing. I was like, no, this can't be. Am I dreaming? But here's the shocker. I call my bodyguards because they're guarding them. I said, tell her I want to interview the father, the stepfather. I'll be there 2 o'clock. On my way there, my bodyguard phones me. He says, boss, there's a problem here. He says, we have been standing here and we told the father, the stepfather, that Mr. Mckenzie would like to interview you and ask you some questions. And he said, yes, no, that's fine. And she said in front of my bodyguards to him, you must, when you look at the camera, you must take out a tear. You must act like you're very sad. My bodyguards was there. It takes a lot of shock.
But you said she was smart. She sounds like an idiot.
No, let me tell you something. Even the smartest people amongst us, even yourself, you're smart. You've done many idiotic things.
Not like that, though. I mean,
well, you've never had your child missing.
No, I know.
So that's what I'm saying. I'm saying to you that what happened, the reasons why she did that. I consider myself smart, but I was caught by the cops. Criminals do pretty dumb shit. I did some pretty things that I look back like, if I didn't do that dumb thing, they wouldn't have caught me, for instance.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
I've also been caught by the cops.
Yes. And you're not a dumb guy. So
I was dumb back then.
That was, you're making my point for me. You did a dumb thing. But and then here's the one for me that's just out of this world. Kelly told me she's not a person that shows emotion. She told me that. And I was defending her and said, guys, some people... And then the cops wanted to separate her and her boyfriend.
Yeah, I read about that.
I've never heard a woman cry like that. I have got a voice message on my phone of her calling me and crying, calling my bodyguard, and he recorded and he sent it to me. So all I'm saying is that Joshlin has blown open police incompetency. Joshlin has blown open the fact that nobody's searching for missing people in this country except the charities. Joshlin's case has blown open how high-profile people are part of this ritual Muti murders.
I was speaking to someone the other day who's an expert in true crime, and she said that Muti murders are very rare. She said they are like exceptionally rare. It doesn't happen that often.
No, she's talking nonsense. For as long as there are people using...
And Muti murders, for people that don't know, is, I think...
ritual killings.
Ritual killings, and they use like different body parts for different ceremonies and healing in traditional healing in South Africa. Yeah.
What is rare about that is the arrest. Nobody gets arrested for that.
So you're saying it happens a lot more than people are caught doing it?
Every 5 hours, somebody's missing.
So yeah, I've actually got some of the statistics here. It says
you can tell me it's 5
missing
hours.
children. You're right. Yeah, missing children statistics in South Africa. A child goes missing every 5 hours in South Africa, according to figures released by the South African Police Service Missing Persons Bureau. This adds up to a total of 1,697 children a year. According to Missing Children South Africa statistics, 77% of children are found. Sadly, this still leaves us with at least 23% of the children being either never found, trafficked, or found deceased. Children are also the most vulnerable victims of gender-based violence. And then I've just got some murder statistics here as well. How many kids are killed in South Africa every day? At least 3 children are murdered, another 3 survive attempted murder, and 21 suffer grievous bodily harm. That's the average daily impact of violence against children in South Africa. And then just murder statistics in general. How many murders are there in a day in South Africa? There's roughly 77. The crime statistics indicate that 6,945 people were murdered between July and September 2023, or roughly 77 people every single day. Further to this, 13,090 people suffered sexual assault, while 42,297 others were seriously assaulted.
Now that's it. Yesterday, 5 children got missing. Today, 5 children are going to get missing. That's our reality here. Now, when people tell you there's this secret veil over ritual killings in South Africa, a veil that I'm about to blow open, because the people that benefit from this body part Muti, some of them are top cops. Some of them are top law enforcement officers. Some of them are top prosecutors. They use this type of thing. So how do you fight what you benefit from? So I'm saying to you, there's good sangomas, I'm told, that pray and stuff like that. I don't know much about that world.
I actually visited a sangoma the other day.
Is it?
I did a full ceremony with them, yeah.
Yes, but there are people that there's a gift to see, I'm told. But I don't believe in sangomas.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I respect their culture, their beliefs, but
when your culture involves killing children...
Yeah. I think, so the way...
There's a difference.
Yeah. There's a difference. So I think generally sangomas are very peaceful. They don't do any of that. They don't practice any of that kind of stuff.
Yes.
I think there's like dark...
Witchcraft.
Dark magic and that kind of stuff. I might be mistaken. I know it's more complex, and I've only learned about this recently, but those people are not respected, and they are not considered real sangomas.
Yes, no, that's true.
Yeah.
I also spoke to a sangoma that told me the very same thing. But I'm saying to you, I'm coming after those ritual murder people. We have a team delving deep, and we're going to bring out names of people. We're going to bring out people that's very high up in the police. We're going to bring out people that's very high up in government. Very high up politicians. They are part of this nonsense. We need to be sure of our facts. That's why it's going to take us a little bit longer than what we anticipated, because we want to prove it beyond
Concrete.
any doubt.
Yeah.
I am saying to you, nobody gets, how can so many kids get missing? We had a child now in PE. His body parts, what was left of his body parts were found. Of course, it's ritual murder. What happens to those people? The reason why they don't get arrested because they got political cover. They got political protection. They got police cover. They got police protection. And Gayton Mckenzie is going to lead. I'm not scared of this witches. They must bewitch me. I'm not scared of them.
Usually I would disagree because this does sound ridiculous. But I know I think in many places in Asia and stuff, I'm sure it happens in a lot of other countries, very, very wealthy people, politicians, businessmen, do get like the rhino horn, right? Because they believe it gives them a bigger erection. Or they do the elephant penis or whatever it is, you know what I mean? They have like these weird beliefs that it's going to increase your sexual prowess or whatever they call it. So I do believe that probably there's very successful or influential people in South Africa that do believe in this kind of stuff.
With money.
Yeah.
And for as long as we don't fight the ritual murders, the unspoken thing in South Africa is ritual murders. As long as we do, because people are scared that the witches are going to bewitch them. That's why they want to fight them. People would go for promotion or to win an election. They will get this type of special muti that consists of human blood.
It's ridiculous.
Albinos in Tanzania.
Sure, I know they get hunted.
They get hunted.
Yeah.
People with the color of Joshlin get hunted. I am saying to you, I'm going to be the one that's going to expose this nonsense.
I don't think,
that's not scared.
I think that's probably a small reason. I think children go missing and people go missing for many different reasons. But I could see how that could be a percentage of
but
it.
I personally don't think Joshlin there's anything ritual murders about Joshlin.
What do you think happened to Joshlin?
I think Joshlin has been trafficked. People don't understand how big child trafficking is.
Well, I heard that they send kids on the container ships.
Yeah. Let me tell you something.
People on the
Joshlin
container
is
ships.
you get Joshlin is a platinum princess for.
She's got beautiful eyes and.
No, the problem is that she can fit in Europe. She can fit in Ukraine. She can fit in Russia. Nobody's gonna look twice at Joshlin when she walks in Russia. Nobody's gonna look twice at Joshlin when she walks in Spain.
No.
Now those are the perfect people that can blend in for child trafficking. So when they sell the child, she blends in. She doesn't. People will be like, "What is this child doing here?" Must I call the cops? No. Yes.
Because she's light skinned. She's got beautiful blue eyes, and
she can pass as any race.
Yeah, like she wouldn't stand out in many places.
But we're gonna find her.
But so you reckon she was trafficked, right?
I reckon that's my opinion.
And how do people get trafficked in South Africa? How do people get trafficked out of the country? Do you know any of the methods?
Because we don't have borders.
Yeah.
We have no borders. It comes down to the first thing I said.
So you're saying they could have just crossed the river?
They would have crossed the river, and from there,
it's gone somewhere else. Because no one's looking for Joshlin in Zimbabwe, for example.
Nobody's looking for her in Zimbabwe. Nobody's looking for her in the place next to Zimbabwe. Nobody's looking for her. So what I'm saying is, Lex Borders makes all crimes possible.
And have you heard about the container ships thing that I said?
Yes, I've heard about that.
That people are being smuggled in container ships.
I think by the time this podcast come out, we are also following a lead that Joshlin has been. By the time this comes out, we would have had an answer to if that's so successful.
I couldn't imagine being, because I was thinking about the container ships the other day. I saw a video on TikTok of someone talking about it. And it's just like, imagine being, I don't even know how you survive something like that. I mean, crossing like 30 days on the open ocean in a container where it's like blistering heat, I just don't understand how they do it.
You know, I saw the most heartbreaking thing the other day where a father whose child has been, he knows where his child was. His child has been taken by Hamas. And the father said...
in Israel?
Yeah, from Israel to Palestine. And the father said he prays that his child must rather be dead instead of his child enduring. That hit me so hard. Now, if your child that is the mind of a person that has lost, the child has been kidnapped. You start thinking like, Lord, take her to you where she's safe by you. Instead of her being used as a child sex slave. People don't want to talk about child slave industry is a big industry in this world. Ritual murders is a big industry in this world, and we need to talk and expose this type of stuff.
I mean, I just watched another documentary about Nickelodeon. Do you know what that is?
No.
Nickelodeon's a TV channel.
I know Nickelodeon, but I don't know.
It's a kids channel that I grew up with. You know Nickelodeon. And I mean, the amount of sexual abuse that goes on even in the open is crazy towards kids.
Now, that's what I'm saying. We need to fight this whole thing of, when a child gets kidnapped, it is. Listen, Josh, man, it doesn't make sense where a child gets missing every 5 hours. It speaks to leadership of this country. It speaks to law and order in this country. Because you know what I like about the Joshlin matter? There's something I do like. Kidnappers now know we are looking for our kids when they get missing. Kidnappers now know it will no longer be a file. There will be a community like Middle Post community, like Saldana community. There will be, Joshlin has broken every race thing you might have in your mind. Black people are praying for colored people, Indian people, people outside this country. Everybody wants Joshlin back. So I'm saying to you, the good thing for me that came out of that, it has highlighted, we love our children even more now. You check your kid, hey, where are you? Don't play too far.
I see my brother with his son. He doesn't let him get 2 meters away.
It has sensitized all of us.
Yeah.
It has sensitized all of us. My friend was telling me that his wife was always paranoid about the children. He's now more paranoid. But we're going to fix our country.
I hope so. I read something in an article that was talking about you meeting her, Joshlin. It said, in a Facebook post, Gayton Mckenzie reflected on meeting Kelly shortly after Joshlin Smith's disappearance on the 19th of February. The PA leader shared a meal with the woman and her 2 children and spoiled them with new clothes, cell phones, and emotional support. He also paid for a safe house for Kelly and her boyfriend to live in and had his personal bodyguards watch over them, which he said. During this time, Kelly admitted that both she and her partner regularly abused the drug took, which is crystal meth. According to Gayton, Kelly and Boerter's drug addiction was likely behind the allegations of them selling Joshlin. Gayton also said that he thinks they sold Joshlin for drugs.
I think so. People don't understand 2 things. I know when I meet an addict, Joshlin, it's very insensitive to ask Joshlin's mom, Kelly, it's very insensitive to ask a woman, are you a drug addict that has just lost a baby? But I did that because I knew I wanted to see if she's going to lie to me. Because I saw the movement of her hand, I saw how she looks at me. I know these things. And I got a cell phone. I got to give her money to buy a cell phone. Because I wanted to trace her. Because she told me she doesn't have a cell phone at the moment, the cell phone is not working. And I said, you know what, how are you going to trace this woman? You want to know who she's calling. That's what suspects do. They calling people like, or the person bought Joshlin, like, don't talk about me and stuff like that. And if we didn't keep her in a safe house, the cops wouldn't have found her. In fact, it was a hotel. It wasn't even a safe house. If we didn't pay for that evening, for her to be there, she would have been gone. And then with our cops, they might never have found her. All I'm saying is that we're not going to stop looking for Joshlin. We are not going to stop. We have made sure that children get found now. The cops, in the time that Joshlin has been gone, we found 4 kids. Now the cops know how to work. But I do know that we don't have a missing children's unit. Something I'm going to bring in, that I brought into my manifesto. That we need a missing children's unit. And you might think your child will not go missing. You never know. It happens with the best of us.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have kids, but I would be nervous.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Not just that. There's a lot of other things I'd be nervous for. But just to end this off, it says you got quite a bit of criticism as well for doing this, what you like, going on the search and interfering, I guess, in the case. It says so. The criticism, it says here, Gayton revealed he had taken a step back amid criticism from authorities that he was interfering with the investigation. In a media briefing on Friday, Western Cape Minister of Police Oversight and Community Safety, Regan Allen, who we were talking about earlier, condemned individuals politicizing their assistance to the community. He said, "I am deeply alarmed at the manner in which this tragic matter has been politicized. Individuals and groups should refrain from this practice. It is highly immoral and insensitive to the friends, family, loved ones, and the wider community." So do you think that is valid criticism or no?
No. Let me tell you what is highly
You did
moral.
mention this earlier, though, but...
Let me tell you what is highly moral. This is Regan Allen. Let me tell you what is highly moral. It's when a child is missing and you don't go as the minister responsible for safety and security for a whole week. When a child is missing and you don't send helicopters, boats, and don't blame the SEPs because you have a budget. What are you doing with the 4 billion that you guys get a year? It's highly immoral. Only bringing the helicopters and stuff after Gayton Mckenzie said he's going to pay for those helicopters and for those boats and for private detectives. That's what highly moral is. Being tasked with keeping people safe. And you don't do that. Today, the suspects that they have, the community in Gayton Mckenzie took those suspects to them. If we didn't catch the suspects, they told me they can't find Stefano to come and do a lie detector test. I went out immediately live, bring them Stefano. They didn't know where Buta and Kelly was. I gave them Buta and Kelly. Is that interfering or is that assisting? They're the ones politicizing. I'm a father before I'm a politician. If I didn't go there, this case would have been closed. Kelly would have been out. In 5 years, she would have sold the next kid and the other daughter that's there. But because Gayton Mckenzie arrived, now they have to work. This is the renting of a man that must now for the first that has been exposed for doing nothing. How many kids? What? He must just show me one thing. Of all the missing children in Cape Town, this Regan Allen must show me how many parents has he visited. Let him show me there, before Joshlin. And I will show him how many children Gayton Mckenzie visited of parents. How many parents of children missing did I visit? And I'm not even being paid for it. I don't even have a budget for it. I'm not even the Minister of Safety and Security like him. He gets driven around to keep us safe. So he mustn't come talk nonsense. Absolute nonsense he's speaking. Nobody will tell me. They do files when children are missing. He said one press conference to tell people that I am being charged for kidnapping. But he's never informed the people how far the case is with Joshlin. He's never told us the progress like cops are supposed to do. He has never asked the community. The very community that helped to search for Joshlin, they did more than me, more than him. That community did more than me. They did more than him. You know what did he do? He kept them out of court. The people that searched day and night. People that walked in bushes where there's snakes. People that didn't eat. People that needed treatment. And they didn't have their tablets on them. And they asked just to sit so that they can gain more strength. And they refused to go home. What he did, he couldn't even allow them to go into court.
I don't know anything about that.
No, I'm telling you.
I don't know. I'm just saying I don't.
I'm telling you. I'm telling you this
Yeah.
like that. So he can go to the nearest hell.
And do you agree that, and I'm not saying I'm not putting this on you, right? Because people kind of put it on me as well in a way. They say that, because I talk about very sensitive topics and topics that a white guy shouldn't really talk about, I guess, in this country. That I think that's how people see it, right? And they say, oh, you're doing it for viewership or this or that. Or, I mean, if you look at my other videos before I started doing this kind of stuff, they got way more viewership and it was way more advertiser friendly, right? So yeah, I know people often put things on you that isn't true, and no one can know your intentions. No one can know my intentions. You kind of just have to go with what we say, right? But do you agree that politicians in South Africa, especially around election times, tend to suddenly focus on things a lot more? Like there was the fire that happened in that building in Joburg, for instance, and suddenly every politician was on the scene. And do you think that they do that? Or?
Yeah, they do that. I agree with you.
Yeah.
There's a woman called Chance. When they accused me of doing this for political reasons, she brought out a private conversation me and her had last year, where her daughter was missing, and I said to her, I'm sending my bodyguards now to come and help with the search. I'm overseas, I'll be back next week to come and help. The child was found. I've never spoken about it. There's a woman in George 4 weeks ago contacted me. Her daughter was missing. We found the daughter in Oudtshoorn. You don't see me going around and, I found the daughter. I delivered the daughter to the mother.
Yeah.
So this is not the first time that we are doing this. It's the first time we get this type of publicity.
Yeah.
And I'm saying to you, if
And you were there.
interfering,
Yeah. Sorry.
if interfering, all the suspects they have there, I highlighted, I brought them to them. Is that interfering? That's not interfering. Why, if I interfere, why did the cops come to me? They interfered with my lunch when they asked me, with my breakfast, when they asked me, where can they find Buta and Kelly? They interfered with that. When I went there, day 2, I thought this is a normal case of a missing child. I never knew it's going to blow up like this.
So that's the one thing that I was going to say as well, is that it did kind of only really blow up after you got there.
Yes.
So, yeah, I mean, I kind of agree with what you're
It's politics.
saying.
They're the ones playing politics, because I can't help when people say...
Either way, though.
Yeah.
Either
but
way.
it's the job of a politician.
But either way, whether you've done it for political reasons or not political reasons, you've still gone and helped
Definitely.
look for a missing child.
You're right.
It doesn't matter,
That's
really.
a smart thing that you just said, because
Yeah.
I say to people, and I'm a father also. We mustn't forget that. I'm a dad before I'm a politician.